Jackie Smiley here with Smiley Mama, and I'm here to talk to you today about the top 3 ways that you can avoid a cesarean. Thanks for joining me today at Smiley Mama. I am Jackie Smiley. I have been teaching natural childbirth and breastfeeding classes for the last 5.5 years. I am a mama of 3, and I am here to share with you some of my knowledge to try to help you prepare for the type of birth that you want. So, the very first thing I want to talk about in avoiding a C-section is why would you want to avoid a cesarean? Cesareans are a major abdominal surgery, so they're going to have some not so great side effects that naturally come with having a big surgery. When we're talking about having a baby, it would be really nice if we could avoid some of the negative things that come with having a surgery. So if we can have a natural birth and not have side effects from medications or procedures that are done to us, then we're more likely to have a positive birth experience. I'm not saying that every cesarean ends badly or that people with medicated births have negative experiences, but if you're wanting a natural birth, having a C-section can be really heartbreaking. So these are my top 3 ways that you can avoid having a C-section. The first way that you can avoid an unnecessary cesarean is by choosing a provider and a birthplace that supports the type of birth that you want. Obviously, a home birth midwife is going to be the best way that you can avoid an unnecessary cesarean because you're not even in a hospital setting where a C-section is an option. If having a home birth isn't an option for you or isn't an option that you are comfortable with, then you need to make sure that wherever you give birth, that they are used to natural birthers and that you're going to be in an environment that encourages a natural birth. So birthing centers or OBs who are natural minded are going to be your next best choice. We live in St. Louis and we have a lot of really good hospitals in the area, and there are several providers, OBs specifically, who really think that natural birth is beneficial for women and will encourage you through that process. We also have 2 birth centers, and hopefully we'll be getting even more. Birth centers are great options for moms who want a natural birth because they're going to be supported by midwives and nurses who know how to come alongside a mom who wants a natural birth and encourage her through that process. If for some reason you have an OB and you aren't sure whether or not they are supportive of a natural birth, ask around. There's lots of Facebook groups. Call me if you're in the St. Louis area, and I would be happy to help you. But you want to get a lot of positive feedback that this OB is going to actually support you, because almost every OB that you see will tell you that they support natural birth and that you are welcome to have a natural birth in their care. But when push comes to shove, most of those OBs are going to be more medically minded, more apt to induce or not let you actually have a natural birth experience. So you want to make sure that if you are seeing an OB, they are supportive of natural birth and that you're going to have a positive experience with them and not be arguing with them or going to battle for yourself simply because you chose the wrong doctor. Another great thing to consider if you're talking with your OB and trying to figure out if they're going to support you is to ask them what their C-section rate is. If their C-section rate is 40%, that's going to be a red flag to you that this might not be the best doctor for you who's having a very healthy pregnancy and wanting to have a natural birth, because almost half of the patients that they see end up with a C-section. So don't be afraid to ask that question, and if your doctor shies away and doesn't want to answer it, that's also a red flag. you want them to say, oh no, we only do about 10% C-sections. I really try to avoid it unless it's absolutely necessary. That's gonna be a good response to your question. If you're looking to avoid a C-section, let's choose a doctor who doesn't do C-sections very frequently. The second way that you can try to ensure that you don't get an unnecessary C-section is to take an out-of-hospital birthing class. Yes, I know, I teach an out-of-hospital birthing class, so I, of course, am going to think that that's the best route that you should take. But I chose that for myself when I was pregnant and doing my research. It really does show that out-of-hospital birthing classes tend to give you a very unbiased view of birth and labor and how it should go, and not be persuaded by hospital policy or doctor's influence. If you take a class at the hospital, more than likely they're going to talk a lot about medicated birth because that's what the majority of patients in a hospital setting have. So if you're looking for that natural birthing class that really helps you prepare for a natural birth and how to cope with the pain of birth, then an out-of-hospital class is probably going to be your best bet. And yes, classes are forming all the time with me, and I would be happy to talk to you about getting you plugged into a class. The third way that you can really avoid unnecessary cesareans is by hiring a doula. Again, just like the classes and the doctors, you want to get as many referrals and references as possible with who would be a good doula for you. There are a ton of doulas out there, and most of them are very well-trained, wonderful women who are really going to support you. But you do want to get other people's personal experiences. You want to meet with several different doulas and see who really clicks with you, who you mesh with, who understands where you're coming from and what you want out of your birth before you just dive in and hire anybody just because they are a doula. So yes, I am a doula, so it makes me a little bit biased, but the evidence really does show that moms who hire doulas are more pleased with their birth outcomes and do use fewer medications and have fewer cesareans. So it's not just me. The evidence is all around that doulas help moms who want natural births. So those are my top 3 ways to avoid unnecessary C-sections. If you want more information, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk with you. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it to give it a thumbs up and maybe even think about subscribing to my channel to get the latest videos on topics like birth and breastfeeding. I hope you found some helpful tips today and have found encouragement for your natural birth journey. See you next time.